Today I want to talk about why foreigners talk so much shit about Korea. Now, you may not know this if you just know foreigners through television and YouTube and stuff like that, but when foreigners who are living in Korea get together, and especially when there's no other Korean people there, they talk mad shit about Korea. And I've had a lot of instances where there's a bunch of foreigners and there's one Korean friend there, and they're just so confused about this, it seems like this torrent, this downpour of just criticism and complaints and anger towards Korea and Korean people sometimes and Korean society. And I mean, let me tell you, for one thing, it's just the way that I think foreigners talk relative to the way Korean people talk. We're more direct and much more harsh in our criticisms than Korean people are. Korean people tend to tone down their criticisms, whereas we are just direct and harsh about it. But in this video, I really want to explain why we're doing the complaining. And I think the two main reasons are, number one, it's because we like Korea. And number two, it's because it's just kind of more fun to complain than it is to praise. Just anything, things in general. So the example I like to give is I've got two best friends, Alex and David. And when we're all three hanging out, it's normal times, we talk about whatever, I don't know, we have little arguments about our opinions, maybe on the news or on politics or on the world or whatever. And it's a general good time. Now, when it's just me and Alex and David isn't there, we'll spend 10 to 80% of our time just talking shit about David. Like, it's usually not 80%, but when we're just hanging out, there will be some little things like, oh, remember when he did that? Or this reminds me of him. Oh, I'm glad David's not here, or else he would say this and that. Like, we'll just complain about him quite a bit. And if there was a third party, somebody who didn't know me, Alex, and David, and didn't know that we're good friends, and they heard me and Alex talking about David, they'd be like, holy shit, man, you guys hate that guy, don't you? He's like the worst guy you ever known. We'd have to be like, no, he's a really good friend. And it's not just when it's me and Alex talking shit about David. When it's me and David, we talk shit about Alex, and I would be shocked if it weren't the fact that when it's David and Alex and I'm not there, I'd be shocked if they didn't talk at least some shit about me, because I'm sure they do. And we don't do it because we hate each other. Quite the opposite. We do it because we like each other. Now, I'm not going to say that because you like someone or something, you talk shit about it. It's more like the prerequisite to talking shit about something or complaining about something is that you like that thing. If you don't like something, then you just don't have that much material to talk shit about it. Let me give this example. Imagine I meet some guy at a party and he's just a douchebag and I hate him. Well, I'm never going to get to know him well enough to seriously have like real fundamental complaints about his personality or things that he's done, because I'll meet him, I'll go, I hate that guy, and I'll walk away. Never talk to him again. So if I don't like someone, I never get enough material, I never get enough information about his personality, I never figure that guy out enough deeply enough to analyze who he is as a person, so I can make legitimate complaints, especially complaints that are like really deep and about them. I'm not like complaints that are just like, the guy's ugly. That's not a real complaint. I'm talking about deep analytical complaints that come from real analysis of the person, place, or thing deeply. So one, we complain when we like something a lot, which sounds really counterintuitive. But number two, we complain because it's just more fun to complain than it is to praise. I mean, what are me and Alex going to say when David's gone? Oh, David's a cool guy. He's fun. We've known him for 15 years. Remember that time he was super cool? Yep. There's not much to say about the praiseworthy things that somebody does. There's not much analysis to go into it. When someone does something awesome, you just go, I love it that he did that. That was cool. Whereas for a complaint, you can go on and on. Oh, can you believe? Remember that time he told that girl that I was looking at her a little too long at the bar, and then she got all creeped out, and like I was so close to talking to her really well and things were going well, but then he fucked it up for me because he's such an asshole. Yeah, he did it to me too, and we told him directly, blah blah. And we can go on and on for these. We have these stories collected about this time David was an asshole. We can analyze his personality, like, he does that because he's slightly jealous, even though he already has a girlfriend. But, he's always been wanting to be like the coolest guy. So even when the girl's not a possibility for him, he'll fuck it up for you. Blah. And we can go deep and on and on and on about it. And it's just more fun to kind of vent and get things off your chest than it is to praise. Praising is short and quick and nice, and he was a nice guy. He's a cool guy. He helped me get that girl that one time, whatever. Now let's bring it over to this analogy I'm trying to make about why foreigners bitch and moan and complain about Korea so much. Number one, well, let me give this example. I have a Korean friend who works at a relatively large Korean company, and he works in a sector that deals with America. And in his sector, in Korea, he works with a lot of American guys. And he's first he was shocked, and then it turned into not just shock, but kind of anger that these guys are just constantly complaining about Korea. He's so confused because they go get lunch and they're just going on and on about how much they hate Korea. And he says this happens almost every lunch. Now, those guys could just be kind of assholes. They might just be generally assholes. But my first point is they're complaining because they kind of like Korea. Now, this is maybe a stretch, but for some reason they're in Korea instead of America. Now, it might just be job opportunity, but there's probably more things that they like about Korea. Like it's nice living in a big city. At least the public transit is great. Like Americans do end up liking hanging out with Korean people just because of the niceness we get and the attention we get. And there's a bunch of reasons to like it. So that likeness, the reason the fact that they like Korea sucked them into Korea, made them know enough about Korea that they live in Korea, and then they start to find all the bad things, and then they just talk about the bad things because it's hard to talk about the good things. It's too difficult. So that brings me to my other point, is that it's also just more fun to complain. When you're hanging out with a bunch of foreigners in Korea, you guys can't sit there for now and go like, everything's great, I love everything. Like that all the shit you love kind of becomes old and mundane after like the first month. After that, you start to notice the little things that piss you off, and it's more fun to talk about those things. It's more fun to vent about those things. The example I can give about me wanting to vent and bitch about something in Korea is all of the fucking buskers in Sinchon and Hongdae. There are so many fucking buskers, and they make me insane. Number one, they're not even learning instruments anymore. They don't even play guitar. They just bring out a fucking microphone and start singing. Like back in the day, you had to pay someone to go do noraebang. And now the idea is that if you go out in the street and you don't pay anyone, we're supposed to pay you to do this fucking singing? Number two, they're fucking literally sometimes 10 meters away from each other where you can hear both the sound at the same time. They're not even good at singing. They're like, sometimes it's in a spot where I just want to hang out with my friend. I don't want to have some asshole blaring a song at me. Everyone's polite to him, so they still clap even though he's a piece of shit. Like, okay, I can go on and on about that complaint forever. And it's fun, and I want to vent, and I want to tell my other friends about it. My other friends want to confer with me how much they hate it as well, and it's fun to talk about. Whereas the things I like, Korean people are generally nice to me. They pay attention to me when I'm speaking. Subway's great. That kind of stuff I can't go into detail about. It's just, yeah, Subway's awesome. It gets me places quickly. It's relatively inexpensive. It's really convenient when I need to get somewhere. And that's it. So my point is, the reason that and you probably might not even know that foreigners complain so much about Korea because you just see them on TV and YouTube. But really, you'd be shocked if it were you as a Korean person and 3 or 4 foreigners who lived in Korea. I guarantee you, at some point they'll bitch about something. And they'll usually get pretty deep into it. And it always confuses the Korean person. And I'm making this video to show you the foreigners who live in Korea, they're not bitching because they hate Korea. In fact, they're bitching because they like Korea, and they like Korea enough to like get into all the nooks and the crannies and the details that make them see all the bad stuff about Korea. And number 2, maybe even a bigger reason, it's just more fun to complain and vent and say the things that make you angry than it is to praise and say all the things that make you happy and that make you like something. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you hate this video, give it a thumbs down. If you love me or hate me, hit the subscribe button. It might be shocking to you that foreigners in Korea bitch a lot about Korea because you just get this view of foreigners on television and really positive, popular, hey, happy-go-lucky YouTubers. And this is one of the reasons I make these videos. It's just to give you like really some kind of insight into foreigners' thoughts and the way that they think. But if you disagree with me, leave comments below. If you agree with me and maybe you witnessed this with a bunch of foreigners bitching about Korea, of course leave that in the comments below. Remember, these videos come out every Friday at 7 p.m. So if it's after 7 p.m. and it's Friday, you should check these videos out. And of course, the most important thing of all, Have a super awesome day.
창화 그리고 김유리 덕분에 저는 이런 영상을 만들 수 있습니다.
여러분의 지원 덕분에 이번 영상을 제작할 수 있었습니다.